Let's talk to Andrea Crothers, who's joining us now from St George in Queensland, because we're trying to find out more, unlike, Channel 2, which is just only interested in drought as a way of making points about climate change to politicians. There's a series that we're doing at the moment that's about the big dry, lots of photos and stories of normal people and how they're affected by drought. And Andrea, as I say, is in St George in Queensland. Now, this is an area that's been in drought for about 7 years. What have you been able to learn? You've done plenty of travel around drought-affected Australia. What is happening right now and how's it biting in St George?
Good evening, Paul. As you said, I am in St George in the heart of the Boulogne Shire in southwest Queensland. It has been in drought here for about 7 years. Now, livestock producers in this area have been hand-feeding their sheep and cattle on and off for that time. I did catch up with one particular person, Rosie Drynan. She's a fourth-generation farmer. Her family have owned a property called Bogong, about 100 kilometres west of here near Bollen, for over 100 years. Now, she took over the place with her partner, Cameron Drynan, and they took it over 7 years ago and virtually just had to start destocking the place. That is, they had to start selling off animals because they simply didn't have the grass to feed them. Now, they're now down to 40% of their herd, and they say it's the worst they've ever seen it.
It's relentless.
Yeah.
Just real,
yeah.
Every day, day in, day out.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, it seems to somehow.
Yeah. There's always something, the dust storms and...
the flies.
Flies.
Yeah.
We're lucky we haven't had any fires, but there's nothing to burn, so...
The sense of hopelessness does start to kick in after a few years, and no doubt for some people after 7. I love seeing people like this and you talking to them. I love them being slightly, anxious and nervous about being on camera. There's something incredibly honest about that. Did you get a sense out of them that they're getting to the end of their rope here where they're thinking, look, there's only so long we can hold on for?
Look, Paul, there would be many people who have considered walking away. Cam and Rosie are a couple just like that who have thought, well, there are easier ways to do things. But at the end of the day, they love the lifestyle. They like it when it's good. It is tough, unfortunately, at the moment, but it's just something that they're going to push through because this is the lifestyle they do want for their kids. But the other thing we do know, obviously, is whilst there is a big focus on the properties around these regions, it's also affecting the towns heavily because when farmers' incomes run dry, that money just simply isn't there to be spent in town. Now, particularly here in St George, this is the hub of this shire, so it's the major service centre for those on properties around this region. Now, talking to local businesses here, they fear that Christmas is the tipping point. That's a real general feeling we're getting from both farmers and off-farm businesses saying that, look, if it doesn't rain by Christmas, they feared that there might be a mass exodus, that people will either be told to close up or sell up. We spoke to one prominent car dealership here. He said that in the first 3 years of the drought, his sales dropped 75% and it's been struggle street ever since. As for a rural aviation business, well, they've seen their business shrink from 12 employees to 2. They're really struggling with this, and have a listen to what Samantha O'Toole had to say.
Tell us what's going on so we can structure our businesses around it. So it's hurry up and wait. We've been waiting 7 years for rain, but we haven't been listening to the federal government because we just don't think anything's going to happen.
So, Andrea, government can't make it rain. We all know that. There's no one who can make it rain. So what do the people you've spoken to want? When they talk about certainty and knowing what's going on, no one can say what day the rain falls and when things start to turn. So what do they want as help or guidance through this time where we don't know how long the tunnel is?
Well, that's right, Paul. And what they do want is they do want support, whether it be with cash injections from state or federal governments, whether it be in other forms of relief. Now, one thing that was put forward by one of the local businesses here today is that whilst farmers do have, or some farmers, do have access to Centrelink payments in the form of farm household allowances, they say that it's really difficult to retain staff, particularly when it comes to skilled jobs, whether it be agricultural pilots or of the like, and to sort of attract people back. So they would like something such as a wage subsidy. Now, this is an idea that I have heard bandied around in this area for some time. They concede that it is highly well, not highly unlikely, but it would be quite difficult to implement and it would be very costly. So they are hoping for any form of relief in that. Now, you did just hear from, that was Neil O'Brien. Now, he is a local businessman here, and he did comment on drought policy, because the other thing that's worth noting here, Paul, is we are actually in David Littleproud's electorate, and this is also the old stomping ground of Barnaby Joyce back when he was a Queensland senator up these ways, and obviously both have been heavily criticised in recent times for the government's response to the drought, Barnaby Joyce being for his role as drought envoy, and obviously David Littleproud with the government's lack of drought policy. So whilst he is still very popular in these parts, he obviously had a massive swing during the election, they do say that they want a drought policy for future so that they actually do have some certainty for their businesses going ahead.
Stuff, Andrea. Appreciate it very much so. We'll talk to you again as you make your way around this big, beautiful country. So what can you do? Now, you can't make it rain. I can't make it rain. Prime Minister can't make it rain. What you can do is book a holiday. So tonight we are going to start a new movement, and tonight I want to start a thing, which is I want you to book a holiday in the bush tonight. We'll give you locations like the one that you've just seen. Pretty simple. Don't care how you book it, who you book it through, whether you Google it, whether you find out there's family members that are around, but here's the deal. Main streets need to keep ticking. The way that happens is people with cash, like you, can do it. Go for a weekend, go for a long weekend. If you're retired, go during the middle of the week. If you want to, go for a road trip with the kids like we used to. Organise to have a family catch-up for no reason other than it's 2 weeks from now, and do it in a place like St George. If you want more information about where to book, how to look, all the rest of it, this is not sponsored by anyone. This is just what you can do for your fellow Aussie, OK? Go to the Facebook page of Paul Murray Live right now and you get the details of where you can go and check out in St George in Queensland. Thank you to Andrea and our team who are focusing on the big dry and the people of the big dry, not the politics. All of that, skynews.com.au.